To resist a tyranny, you must be independent of that tyranny for your subsistence. If the government provides your food, your clothing, your shelter, your education, your job, your medical care, your retirement, then the government controls you most effectively indeed. If that government should ever become tyrannical, and they have a way of doing that in history, then you've had it, my friends. We believe that one of the greatest lessons of history that so desperately needs to be relearned by the American people, our forefathers knew it well, is this. Any time a government is powerful enough to give the people everything they want, it is also powerful enough to take from the people everything they've got. You cannot have one without the other.
Very powerful lecture given by G. Edward Griffin in 1969 from the John Birch Society. I really don't know much about this so-called society, but they seem to have good morals. Hard-working people is what we need to be. Cannot be. You got to be independent from your tyrannical governments. You got to be able to provide yourself to be a carpenter. You got to be whatever it takes to be someone that provides a service for your communities, hopefully. But what we are looking at right now is live over the country of Mexico. Even though places, I hear that Mexico has banned these geoengineering programs, it does not matter. The UN will spray any country or state at will. They're spraying, I think Tennessee, I've seen spraying in. We'll take a look at some really unusual storms being created this moment in the United States. But first, let's play the last 6 hours here in Mexico and watch this toxic geoengineering operation take place. Straight line clouds are created by aircraft spraying out all kinds of chemicals from aluminum to barium, petroleum, coal ash, mercury. That becomes very magnetic, or it could be pathogens to make, or even the foliage to make the trees die. I'm not sure what all they're spraying. They'll never tell us 100%, but our aircraft are being controlled by the UN. Stand by. Here is just some of the ingredients. I'm going to let a very famous FBI chief explain what is going on and who is doing this. Stand by. This FBI director tried so many times to save the American people from the central governments like the CIA, central bank, in my opinion. But listen to his words here. He's trying to save us one last time here. God bless his soul.
The death dumps, otherwise known as chemical trails, are being dropped and sprayed throughout the United States, in England, Scotland, Ireland, Northern Europe, and I have personally seen them not only in the United States but in Mexico and Canada. Birds are dying around the world. Fish are dying by the hundreds of thousands around the world. This is genocide. This is poison. This is murder by the United Nations. This element within our society that's doing this must be stopped. I happen to know of 2 of the locations where the airplanes are that dump this crap on us. 4 of the planes are out of the Air National Guard, Lincoln, Nebraska, and the other planes are out of Fort Still, Oklahoma. I personally have observed the planes that were standing still in Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, at the Air National Guard. They have no markings on them. They're huge, bomber-like airplanes with no markings. This is a crime. Crime against humanity, crime against America, crime against the citizens of this great country. They must be stopped. What is wrong with Congress? This has an effect on their population and their people and their friends and their relatives and themselves. What's wrong with them? What's wrong with the pilots who are flying these airplanes? They're dumping this crap, this poison, on their own families. Somebody has to do something about it. Somebody in Congress has to step forward and stop it now. Thank you. I'm Ted Gunderson.
Thank you, Ted. I hate to know how many people's died trying to get the word out. Everybody claims it's just beetles killing the trees in Alaska, but here's Canada. Millions of trees are dead in every state. Stand by. Okay, I appreciate everybody that's still with us, but I don't want to get off track here. Here's the last 6 hours of the spraying in Mexico. It's just, I don't even think it's for weather as much as just spraying these people. But very unusual weather over the last 12 hours. Last night, I want to go over. Stand by. Let me get it loaded for you. Okay, I want to go over now the storms that happened over Oklahoma. What's going on? Missouri and Kansas, Arkansas. I mean, sometimes I get my states messed up. I catch myself afterwards. Too late. Very unusual frequency waves going on over Oklahoma, but that's not the ones I want to concentrate on. It's these little ones here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It just continues. You can see it on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is about to turn off. It's lighting this storm here, in my opinion. A lot of crisscross waves, all kinds of odd stuff going on. Chemtrail that's out here that you can't really see. But in my opinion, all this vapor here that this is caused by, see the lines all the way across, is about to dissipate because this storm is about to shut off. And then the energy is focused on this material, where they re-energize this area for Milwaukee and Chicago. Some chemtrails over Illinois and Indiana this morning. I've seen photos of. Alright, let's see. The energy's going to stop here. See, it's very distinct here. Okay, let me zoom out just the right area. And we're going to see it re-energize up here somewhere. There's where it turns off. This is completely gone, and this storm falls completely apart. Right there's the re-energizing of the new one. See it vaporize everything? I know it's really hard to tell, but watch. I'll show you the lines. Very distinct. I have to go up here where you can see it better. Right there. And you can start seeing it there. Give me the last little bit there. Let me see if I can get it to load. Okay, I got it now. Here's the storm over Springfield that they shut off. When the laser stopped down there, that completely, the lighting shuts off completely. Then it redevelops a little bit farther over for Wisconsin. Right here, you can kind of see it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down here, you can see it better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you can see it right on through. See, this disappears instantly there. See it even better now, right there. There it is again. 1, 2, 3, 4. But this is lighting the new weather system up here. There's some more out here that's lines from the machine. Sun's got the aluminum really reflective bright. Very minute. These devices are tiny. Look up laser weapons that the military has. It looks like cameras. It's nothing. It's just beams of light. Alright, let me see what else I can find. They're spraying offshore of Oregon. I just showed you Mexico. I want to let the meteorologists talk about how this material works. Let me show you Oregon, then I'll put on the meteorologists. On the way to Oregon, I can see these massive frequency waves here. Colorado, Kansas. Oh yeah, I want to put in the last 6 hours of Kansas. It's crazy how it's like creating a new spin or something. I want to get sidetracked, but I did want to show you how this riffles go in different directions. Riffles going in every direction. I know. Let me go look at the other chemtrail operation besides Mexico. The last 6 hours offshore of Oregon and California, and Washington, Oregon, and California. Very distinct straight line clouds that is created from aircraft. Put it on there for red, it should really stand out. Zoom out a little bit so we can see how it took place. Just constantly spraying the same areas. It goes right on over California, and then they keep spraying. They're still spraying right on through. It doesn't look as much for weather as it does this poisoning or something. I don't know. It's not air traffic. It's continuously spraying the same area. If it was air traffic, it would be all over. But y'all can look through my previous videos where I've showed all that information. Let's see what else I can find before I cut you loose. Really rainy here today. I wanted to go for a walk. I might still do it. Go get me a salad. Stand by. Pretty cool outflow boundary coming out of Key West from some new storms being formed out of nothing. But I want to let the meteorologists from the United States explain what most of this is going on. Commercial fishermen standing by. I want y'all to enjoy this video, then I'm just going to cut it off at the end. But thank you to everybody that's commented. Your comments are truly amazing, but there's no way I can keep up with them. I have hundreds of videos and hundreds of comments. But thank you to everybody. Enjoy the meteorologists explaining the weather control programs. Standing by.
Anytime you put an aerosol into the atmosphere, it's going to affect wind speeds. It's going to affect cloud nucleation. An interesting thing is geoengineers are talking about how if these programs were to be initiated, which they have been, how they will have to utilize and implement weather control and determine where it rains, when it rains, and who specifically gets rain.
We're already beginning to see the formation of the center of circulation.
My name is Scott Stevens. I studied meteorology at the University of Kansas, and that was my first TV job was on the air was in Topeka, and then I worked in Omaha and Tulsa, Albany, New York, and then out into eastern Idaho in the Pocatello, Idaho Falls market for the last 10 years of my 20-year career doing weather. It wasn't until about 2005 when I got deep into the weather modification aspect of this story of geoengineering. One of the parts of the program that is very important, that plays into the chemtrails, is the precision of these actions in the atmosphere. These chemtrails are absolutely required, so they introduce the right energy at the right location for the right length of time. These trails are wires in the sky.
The combined technologies like HARP and the chemtrails were designed to work together as weather weapons.
HAARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project. It is filled with phased array antennas. They steer microwaves into the ionosphere where they will activate all of the ions up there.
They can use excitation waves that actually affect the metallic particles. So we've ionized the air column. They can heat it, they can cool it. HAARP has directional antennas, and they can focus their antennas on where they want to move the jet stream, and they can hit the jet stream, and they create an artificial high.
If you accentuate the high, if you amplify a little bit, it's like building a mound of dirt, and you have a little creek or a little stream of water coming. You build the mound of dirt, that water's not going to go through it. So you build the mound, and then that's going to impact storms that are inbound. And so it's very easy to add those particulates of aluminum, barium, and whatever else they want to put in there. And as you add heat to that, those particulates then radiate the heat into the atmosphere, and it warms. And what does a warming atmosphere do? Boom, it expands. We see more intense droughts. We see rainfall rates of 1 to 2.25 inches an hour, and sometimes even rainfall, 1.25 inches a minute is just unheard of. And so when you get the atmosphere capable of conducting this kind of electricity, plus the engineers, you're going to end up with weather that is extreme, and that's putting it kindly.
When they move the jet stream, it then pushes up into the polar vortex. The polar vortex really can only move when there's something impacting it, like HAARP.
They can heat up that ionosphere. So when the jet stream comes in, it hits that bubble and it diverts. The jet stream flow that is normal brings precipitation and brings the jet stream right into California. And then it brings storm systems with it. It brings rain.
The jet stream got pushed off of the coast of California. It dried us up and took all our moisture away and pushed the jet stream north. And when it hit the polar vortex, it then was ricocheted straight down the east coast.
What we've been getting, very warm, very dry conditions in California, but in terms of the Arctic and in the Midwest, it's swinging all of that moisture, all that cold air.
You can kill a storm in place. That's easy to do with HAARP. You'll see the texture and the structure of the storm just melt, and it will become just this diffuse, amorphous, featureless mess. And that was one of the big epiphanies I had in forecasting. Anticipating a winter storm coming through, you've got to set forecast out that night, and you're waiting for the snow to start. You're waiting for the snow to start, and you're waiting for the snow to start, and it just doesn't. And you go outside and you see a warming zone begin to show up on the satellite loops. The clouds literally just begin to warm, and then that collapses the potential of the storm to put down the moisture. It's done. It's shot.
I was showing you Nevada there from last year with that video, but here's Nevada right now with some waves pushing this material. That looked like the lasers there for a second. I had a little different material in the video I erased. I'm not scripted, I'm not backed by Disney. If I erase something, it's lost, and it's just all thoughts. It's not scripted or written down anywhere, but I'm just showing you what I see, and what I see is very unusual. Commercial fishermen standing by. Y'all have a good morning, a good day, a good evening, and a good night. We are all on different timelines. Commercial fishermen out.